Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I decided that it was high time to bring relics back into the Gwent spotlight, and what better way to do this with our trusty old Self-Eater deck combined with the new and improved Morntart. Let's take a look at what this card does now after the patch. So Morntart's power has changed a little bit, making him more harder to kill. Now the Morntart is 1 point and 4 points of armor, meaning you need at least 5 points of damage to remove it. What Morntart does is, if played on the melee row, it will banish all units in your graveyard, then boost self by 1 for each. Now, of course, you have to keep this card alive for at least one turn because it has an order ability. Unless you decide to manipulate that somehow by giving it Zeal right off the bat, you'll have to make sure that this card doesn't just die. A lot of the time people don't actually expect it though, and you can sneak it into a short round. So we want to abuse this card in the best way possible, and that's by getting as many cards into our graveyard so that it boosts by a lot of points. And I decided that the Self-Eater was the optimal way to do this. Now the Self-Eater, of course, will halve its power and will then spawn a copy of itself on that row. So this is a great card, not only because of its relict synergy, but also because of the fact that each and every spawn will go into your graveyard and will contribute to that final point of Morntart. So of course I have two Self-Eaters in this deck, and I'm very excited to see this beautiful card art once again. The other card we have is Megascope. Megascope is going to help us create more of those Self-Eaters just in case we run out. Megascope also comes in handy if somebody starts to manipulate our graveyard and we need to include another card like a Griffin. So a Griffin is going to play for 9 points, but it has to consume something on the board. Luckily, our leader ability comes in pretty handy when it comes to the Griffin. We want at least 2 Griffins, one in our graveyard and one in our deck. This is so that cards like Mamuna can be used optimally. So if you've forgotten by now how Mamuna works, Mamuna has an order ability. It will then banish a bronze unit from the graveyard, boost self by its power, then summon a copy of it from the deck to this row. Now when you're going to play your Griffin, this is obviously going to play for a chunky amount of points. You're going to have a chunky 9-point Griffin being eaten by Mamuna, giving it 11 points altogether. It's then going to draw the other Griffin from the deck, which is going to add to another 9 points. So remember that you don't actually want to have Sabbath when using this on the Griffin. Sabbath means you have 25 points or more on one of your rows. If you have Sabbath and you play this, the Griffin is going to have to be played, meaning the Griffin is going to have to consume something. So don't misuse this and accidentally consume something you don't want to. If you play Mamuna right off the bat, it won't have Sabbath yet, and you can easily use it on your Griffin. Now another card you can use Mamuna with is going to be your Gun Cayenne. Now you have the opposite problem. You actually do want to play the card and you do want Sabbath with Mamuna. Gun Cayenne, when played between 2 relics, will increase its base power by 4, making it 9 points. So if you can have one of these in the graveyard, it's going to be 9 points already if played correctly. Then you're going to eat it with Mamuna, getting 11 points again. And then you're going to want to grab another Gun Cayenne from your deck, and you're going to want to play it so that it accumulates to another 9 points. So be careful how you do your placing. Alright, so we're playing a Fruits of Isguth list, meaning you could spawn a Gurnikora fruit on an allied row, and you could do so every time you start a round without Gurnikora fruit. The reason we like this is because it gives our Griffin something to eat. It also gives us a nice Thrive card. It also gives our Bloody Mistress more points. Bloody Mistress is a card that is very strong, and we haven't seen it being played for a while now. If this card is played on the board and you have 25 points or more on a row, this card will transform into Gurnikora, and it will spawn 2 Gurnikora fruit, one on each side of the card. You will thus have 3 Gurnikora fruit on the board if you've used your leader ability. Then, at the end of every turn, the card will boost itself by the amount of Gurnikora fruit on the board. So now you'll have 3 Gurnikora fruits, each of them having Thrive and Growing, as well as the Gurnikora who grows with 3 points every turn. So I included this card as well. It is a relic, it's very strong. Another card I have is She Who Knows. She Who Knows is a great resilience card, perhaps one of the best. It also works with Sabbath. this entire deck works with Sabbath. The more times you have a big number of points on the row, the more you're going to be awarded for that. So with She Who Knows, if the round comes to an end and you have Sabbath, She Who Knows will end up giving resilience to the biggest base power unit on your side of the board. That means not the biggest card, but the card with the biggest base power. As you can see, She Who Knows has 10 points of base power. Even if she gets damaged all the way down to 4, she will still have 10 points of base power. More than not, she will give herself resilience, which is great, because you'll be able to use her again in round 2 and try and give her resilience again. Remember, if you were to give something like Igern resilience, which is 13 points, that card would instead go on to the next round and die because of its deployability. But that's not a problem with this deck, as I did not include Igern. Just keep in mind that She Who Knows could give resilience to another card like Ratcatcherus. Ratcatcherus is another nice relic engine, because whenever you play a relic, this card increases its base power by 1. So keep in mind, only 2 relics need to be played before this card is going to get resilience at 11 points above that of She Who Knows. Now, whenever this unit is damaged, it will reduce its base power by 1. This gets cancelled if you have Sabbath. So if you want to play this card early, keep in mind that it has a weakness. If you wait until you have Sabbath, that weakness gets cancelled out. The next card I have here is going to be the 3 Crones. Of course, we have Whispers, who's a relic, damages an enemy unit by 2. Then we have our Wheelers, who will boost an allied unit by 2, but will boost by 4 if you've already played another Crone. And then lastly, we have the Brewers, who will consume an allied unit, or will consume 2 or even 3 allied units, depending on the number of Crones you've played before. Keep in mind, your rows might overstack with the amount of Self-Eaters we have. Brewers comes in handy if you need to consume to make more space on your side of the board. Okay, and then of course we have the Witch Apprentice. If you have Sabbath, this card will boost itself by 2 at the end of every turn. It's a very strong card. It's a nice relic to have. I have 2 of them in this deck, but I also have Megascope in case you want to make another. Then we have the Lesser Witch. So the Lesser Witch is a relic at 4 provisions. It's rather cheap, but if you pull it off, you can get up to 10 points in a turn. What it does is, it will spawn a base copy of itself in the graveyard. This is very nice because it gives you another point for Morntart. But if it's bonded, meaning you already have a Lesser Witch on the board, you will spawn a base copy of self on this row instead. So if you have both of these cards in round 1, you will play both. One of them will play for 5 points and its copy will go to the graveyard. The second one will play for 5 points and make a 5-point copy on the board, giving you 10 points instead. That's pretty nice for 4 provisions, and it's also a relic, meaning it will trigger all of your relic engines. Then we have Spores, because in this meta a reset is very important, especially with those Aglias decks. You might want Last Say when playing against hand buff decks of all types. A long round always benefits you, but having Last Say might just ensure you win the game. Alright, and then we have some thinning. This is done with the Wild Hunt Riders. If you have Dominance, meaning you have the biggest card on your side of the board, you play this card and it will pull out its copy from your deck, thus thinning your deck and giving you a better chance to draw your cards. We also have Predatory Dive, a pretty fun card to have in this sort of deck because you can always just spawn a Gurnikora fruit with your leader ability. You don't lose any points when you play Predatory Dive because it eats your Gurnikora fruit. You get another one the next turn, but unfortunately your opponent will kill their lowest units. If they start the round with something like Dunka and they boost it by 5 and it's a chunky 9-point card, Predatory Dive is going to take care of that for you. So keep this in your hand around 1 if you can, and yeah, see how much points you can get from it. Next up is the last card we have, and that is Alza's Thunder. We couldn't afford Parasite in this deck, which damages a card by 6. Instead, we opted for some 5-point control with Alza's Thunder. Sometimes you need to get rid of a tedious engine on your opponent's side of the board, and this is the way to do so. We also, of course, have a Neuromancy in this deck because it just offers us the best way to actually get consistency in a deck like this. You want access to the card you need when you need it. You need access to the card you want when you need it, and a Neuromancy does that. So that was quite a mouthful. I hope you guys understood this deck guide. I'm going to show you some games I played. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, and good luck with the season. Okay, let's do this again. Dutch Dan, probably playing Mulva.
Wait, you're serious?
Alright, so that goes. Elsa's Thunder might not be the most horrible thing ever. Predatory Dive might be able to get rid of Saskia. Actually. I feel like this is the hand, actually. I feel like this could be it. We've got some nice removal in case we need it. It's a very easy match for a sim like Nilfgaard. Yeah, it's always been that way. Not much we can do about it. It's okay. Synthesis. Oh my. Predatory Dive laughs. Every now and then I feel like we need another Predatory Dive, but I think one's enough. Oh, there she is. Why not just start with Saskia? Yeah, see, we wouldn't necessarily have gotten it. It's okay. Let's start for the melee route. Get our Wild Hunt Riders out. It was just bait low. It was good bait though. I mean, we got Predatory Dive 5 out for a 9. Yeah, it's a good trade in my opinion. Haha. There's no such thing as enough Predatory. Well, it's a fire provision card and it doesn't always find value, so sometimes it's a bit of a meme.
The best weapons are companions.
We just need to win on even. I'd be pretty happy with that. I'm curious to see if they get to pull Milva off now that it has changed. I think a lot of people don't actually read the patch notes either, so it's going to be cool to see if people end up bricking Milva by accident. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, she's definitely been nerfed, that's for sure. Why so desperate? A bit overkill? Yeah, it's a bit overkill, right? I guess this is it. If I could get Sabbath, that would have been nice. Because the idea would have been to get out my She Who Knows. Okay, this is fine. I don't necessarily need Self Eater right now. I mean the Omega Scope. Mega Scope. Mega Scope. Why not my Moon on Griffin? It's a bit overkill. It's a lot of points. For what, you know? I'd much rather have that in the next round. There we go. Now we get rid of the griffin. Again, we have that. I'm sure spores will come in very handy. Nice. Okay, well, let's see how this one turns out then. Problem is, Morntart can easily be interacted with some movement if we don't have any protection. Neuromancy. Okay. See, that point slam already puts us ahead, so I'm very happy with it. Oh, go. Okay. Next up, I would suggest we probably go for Self-Eater. I mean, they'll kill it. They will kill it. But it's okay, I think. They need some cards to kill it, though. Anna Henrietta, thanks for the follow. Making a bomb.
Don't you fret about me. Take care of myself.
Okay. Another hard matchup? You know what? I didn't think so. I think we're in a good position. We've got a lot of point slam. We don't just rely on a long round. Some traps are gonna start coming out, of course. How about I take a chance? Okay, you know what? I really want to play Bloody Mistress. But I have a feeling she doesn't change. Yeah, we're not gonna pull it off. Instead... Hey, Eurofaldi, how are you doing? What I wanted to do was go for a Neuromancy into Gankayen. That gives me what I need for now. Gets hit by... yeah, makes sense. Alright, so now I can afford to play her. Ouch. Nope, I cannot. I take it back.
When pigs fly, eh?
Soon, sisters. Soon. Discard spores? Well, yeah. We won't be needing it anyway. They could get lucky with Serpent Trap, you know? Which is what they have.
Step carefully. Time to die. You're in my forest now. Sword in hand.
GG. Alright, let's go. Picky playing Hyperthin.
I hate portals.
Alrighty. So, hand looking good. Hand looking very good. Right now, I don't know if I need a Mamuna in hand. Gonna get rid of that. Have a predatory dive instead. Elza's Thunder, something I think is necessary right now. And we got a bricked hand. That's fine, that's fine. Ah, great stuff.
Is there anyone here to whom I can entrust my missive?
You can do it. We'll see. We just have to win round 1. If we have to push, we push. It's fine.
Time to get our hands dirty.
Alright. Think, Tia, what's the best card you can play now? We shall start off with Fruits of Isguth. And we are gonna go for a Self-Eater. The quicker we can get Sabbath, the quicker we can commit Bloody Mistress. And if that's what's necessary, then so be it. Eat that. I should.
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
Okay, almost got that Sabbath going. Now, I'm sure the moment we actually play something like Bloody Mistress, they just kill it with Vilgefortz, right?
Highly curious case.
But if I win the round, I'm more than happy anyway, so I'm gonna do it. 3 for 5. Maybe we should play one more card here before we do that. How about we click this, even though it's a horrible click, and go for Gun Cayenne. I mean, we're already ahead by quite a lot of points. I'm very happy with this. With Bloody Mistress, we can even almost afford to pass, but we won't. Arturius. The man under the pumpkin.
Time to get our hands dirty.
So, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. We can sort of pass now. They're not just catching up. They've got Tactical Decision, though, which is a lot of points. We can't ignore it. So far, we've got Shunos, Mamuna, Morntar. It's pretty important.
Here's our chance.
It's fine.
They say you are what you eat.
Now we pass. We have to pass, right? I know we shouldn't, but we have to. They're not catching up. There's no way.
Give no quarter! My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
There's nothing worse than a tempted death.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm sort of alright with that happening. Nice, Mamuna is so important.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
No, I don't nibble at them. They fall right out.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. Not shabby at all.
Amazing. It appears you have mulled yourself, my dear. Self-eater is making me hungry.
We dance. For young is the night.
I mean, they can't be playing Colgrim because they've got 7 cards in hand, so nice, nice. Excellent power. You could just reset my fruit, you know. Could have at least tried.
An interesting choice.
Long live the Emperor!
They're surprisingly clean pictures, as it happens.
GG. Very close, very close.